All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Dane Brugler of The Athletic, the top NFL draft analyst for The Athletic, just came out with his newest mock draft. Let's take a look at the top 10, see who he has going to the New York Jets here. I'm really excited to dive in. At number 1 overall here, he has the Chicago Bears going with quarterback Caleb Williams from USC. This is definitely a really popular pick so far. Kind of seems like it's the consensus, but to be honest, I really don't feel like it's a closed book, in my opinion, right? What's going on with Justin Fields? Will the Bears end up trading him? Will they end up keeping him? What's going to happen? Could the Bears potentially trade out of the first overall pick? We'll see. But at number 2, he is the Washington Commanders going with Drake May, quarterback from North Carolina. Another I guess consensus pick here. This seems to be the pick in pretty much every single mock draft, and I really like May as a prospect. I feel like there's so many things to like. With spot number 3, though, he is the New England Patriots going with Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver from Ohio State. It's no secret that the Patriots need weapons, right? They need wide receivers, they need talent, they need speed, they need explosiveness, they need youth, really. I mean, the Pats don't really... Like, you're thinking about the offense, like, I really like Ramondre Stevenson, but as far as like that pop offensively, they don't really have it. So Harrison could be an interesting option if the Pats go out and maybe sign a veteran quarterback. What's going on with maybe like a Kirk Cousins or something, or whatever the case may be. If the Patriots find themselves with a solid quarterback in place before the draft starts, I definitely feel like Harrison would be the favorite in this situation. But the question is, if no quarterback moves are made, what's going to happen at 3? There's other quarterbacks obviously being talked about in the top 10 of the draft, or is it a potential trade down scenario for New England to just stockpile more picks? So anyway, Pat's going with Marvin Harrison at 4. He is the Arizona Cardinals going with Malik Neighbors, wide receiver from LSU. Now, much like the Patriots, the Cardinals need help at wide receiver, especially because Hollywood Brown is a free agent. So, and by the way, I really like Hollywood Brown. I feel like he's not being talked about nearly enough as one of these potential wide receiver free agents out there. I feel like he could really make a difference on for an offense out there. The speed, the deep field threat that he brings to the table. But anyway, Malik Neighbors here, obviously a great wide receiver prospect out of LSU, exploded onto the scene last season, explosive play after explosive play. He had 34 catches of 20-plus yard plays. I mean, that's just crazy, right? If you want to talk about just explosiveness at the college level. But moving on, we have the LA Chargers going with Brock Bowers here, tight end from Georgia. Now, this one's pretty controversial, right? Tight end going in the top 5. That's always going to raise eyebrows and have people question it. Brock Bowers is a dominant tight end prospect. I mean, like, how could you not like what you see when you're watching Bowers? Toughness, physicality. He's really going to be in my opinion at least, he's going to be a damn good NFL tight end. But is top 5 too high? That's the big question mark here when it comes to Bowers. But I will say the Chargers have a lot of positions locked down, a lot of foundational pieces locked into place. So Bowers would definitely give Herbert a solid weapon here. Moving right along, New York Giants, Rome Odunze, wide receiver from Washington. Now, Garrett Wilson actually tweeted out, I think like Jets on Odunze's post on social media, which I thought was pretty interesting. Odunze can be a monster at the next level. And I do honestly feel like this is a great fit for him with the Giants. I think right off the bat, he's going to probably come in as the top guy or the second best guy on the roster. And whenever you're talking about that, possibility with a first round rookie, you're always at a good position. So I do like this fit actually a lot for the Giants. Even though they have some trench play question marks. Moving on, Tennessee Titans, Joe Alt, tackle from Notre Dame. Obviously, this makes a ton of sense for Tennessee. With tons of question marks on the Titans offensive line. We don't know who their head coach is going to be, but at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with a high floor player with Joe Alt. I'm hoping that he's on the board for the Jets at spot number 10, but as of right now, it's not looking likely. With the Atlanta Falcons, he has them going with Jaden Daniels, quarterback from LSU. Personally, I love Daniels, right? Of course, the numbers are the numbers, but eye test wise, has such a quick release. The ball placement on the deep ball is absolutely nuts. The way he kind of throws reminds me a little bit of Jimmy Garoppolo early in his career. Just such like a punchy, quick release up top. And then you factor in the speed. I mean, he's so shifty. He can get upfield quickly. He can really like shift into another gear and just kick it up a notch as he's, booking it vertically. I think Jaden Daniels is so much fun to watch, and it's really going to be interesting to see where he lands. And I do like the fit with Atlanta because right off the bat, well, I guess to be fair, we don't know who the head coach is going to be, but right off the bat, he has 3 former top 10 picks invested in the offense at tight end with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, wide receiver, and then, of course, Bijan Robinson at running back. At spot number 9, he has the Chicago Bears going with Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Alabama. This is pretty interesting because we all saw what Montez Sweat did with the Bears last season, and it's not to say that it was shocking or anything like that. At the end of the day, they did give up a second-round pick for him, and also he was a proven pass rusher up to that point. But I will say, if you're keeping Eberflus in place, in essence, keeping the same exact defensive system out in place, Sweat's going to be coming off the edge. Who's going to be the guy lining up opposite of him, right? You're going to need somebody, another bookend, defensive end. Dallas Turner could give you that speed, that production off the edge for that Bears defense. Although the Bears really need help on the offensive side of the football, I think because they go with their quarterback early, I could see them maybe looking at this 9th overall pick as expendable, or maybe they just have like the BPA approach. And then last but not least, at spot number 10, he is the New York Jets going with tackle from Penn State, left tackle from Penn State, Olu Fashanu. This would be an awesome pick for the Jets. I would absolutely love this. Fashanu has great pass blocking abilities. People rave about him off the field as well. Super smart, great teammate, loves playing for Penn State, loves his teammates, loves his coaches. In fact, he actually could have came out a year ago, and at the time he was considered a top 10 pick, but he decided to go back to school, graduate, and just kind of hone his craft a little bit. Now, run blocking isn't as good as pass pro, and Fashanu is only 21 years old. Has prototypical size at 6'6", 315 pounds. Again, great in pass protection, super athletic, really high ceiling, really explosive coming out of a standstill as well. It's probably one of my favorite things about him. Just a really like snappy type of player. He had experience his freshman year, appearing in 4 games, as well as his sophomore year, a total of 12 games where he didn't allow a single sack. And again, we all know what happened this past season and the season prior. Fantastic production from top to bottom. I think right now for the New York Jets, you got to be locked in at tackle. You have to be locked in to offensive line. I'm not closing the door on wide receiver or anything like that. Just saying, no, we're not, just approaching the draft with blinders on. But at the end of the day, I feel like if the Jets could go out and land that long-term anchor at either left tackle or right tackle, it would be such a luxury. And it's not to say too that if we miss out on Fashanu, if we miss out on Alt, everything is screwed. No, the class from top to bottom is pretty deep. Fuaga from Oregon State, JC Latham from Alabama, I think are really interesting options as well. Specifically for the Jets at spot number 10, if they want to go out and target a left tackle, plug him in, and now all of a sudden we really need a right tackle, the options are kind of all over the place. Or maybe the Jets are thinking a potential trade back. A lot of different scenarios here that we can play. But again, in this situation, if the Jets stay still at spot number 10 and potentially land their franchise left tackle, I mean, that's a slam dunk. That's an absolute slam dunk. My only concern, though, with I guess it doesn't even sound fair to say with him, but because there's a lot of potential there, and everybody's always talking about his ceiling and that he's only 21 years old. I understand that he has some experience, a decent amount of experience, but he is considered like a younger prospect that has a lot left in the tank, right? He can grow into a really great player. I'm not sold on Keith Carter as offensive line coach. I'm just not. I'm not really looking at Carter as somebody who's, uplifting the room, uplifting specific players, making them better. So in the event that we snag Fashanu, of course it's a slam dunk pick in my opinion. But ideally, I would like to have a plan in place to where I know for a 100% fact he's going to be on the right track of development. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.